This is a really, really cool device. When we talk about the reality continuum and moving between different realities and what's real and not real, we also need to think about the human connection and that's also really cool. They didn't talk about it, which I think was smart. They didn't say the metaverse, right?
Big day. But we do have one more thing.
One more thing. Of course.
This is a day the experience of using
for me, spatial computing is displacing stuff in the physical world, of course, but it's not understanding the room only. It's not
in life,
making a boundless experience, right? So that's, again, talk about reality continuum. It's that reality moves back and forth between physical and vertical and through the digital. And it creates this space where your imagination is the only thing stopping you. I mean, in the HoloLens, you need to have your hands in front of you. Same thing with the Quest and Quest Pro. But if you have them below you,
it's incredible. This breakthrough innovation is called eyesight. Not only does eyesight reveal
so this is important. When we talk about the reality continuum and moving between different realities and what's real and not real, we also need to think about the human connection and how we have continue to do that. So if you look at this, they really thought about that in the person that's in an augmented state and one that's not in an augmented state. This is the workplace metaverse, right? This is the first step into that, where you're thinking about having a virtual reality or a virtual room that you can organize as you want. You don't have to reorganize it. Think about a war room, a project war room, where you have sticky notes everywhere or things like that. It looks like it's exactly what they're thinking about here. Organize it, build what you want. So bringing not only your data and your work tools, but also bringing other objects into the world and interact with that, and collaborate around that, I would assume. Your hotel room becomes your office, and you can set up your office the way it's in your office. You have the screens in the same places. You have the expanded computer screen. You might have your messages over here. Exactly as it. So you bring your working space really wherever you go. It's the vision of the Microsoft Office 365, which is more of a backend solution into a human-centered design, now display thing, or experience thing. Where are the avatars? Where's the 3D representation of you? So basically, the workplace thing is that you can use it to set up different kind of workplace areas, different experience you can bring everywhere. It's cool, but I was expecting more. I mean, this tech we've seen before, right? So this is us. You can now access 3D content, 3D movies. Yeah, my daughter would love that.
We're proudly reflecting on our
This is genius.
while also looking to our vision.
How will Meta counter this?
The first in our
I mean, I would argue Quest is the entertainment headset. PlayStation's trying to get there, and they're trying to move into enterprise and VR for the corporate. Look at different things. Ooh, that's also really cool. I know someone that would love that experience.
Part of the action, like never before.
Yeah. In terms of 3D tech, Disney is the company to beat.
We teamed up with Zeiss to create custom optical inserts that magnetically attach to the lenses. They accommodate a huge range of vision correction without
They're really thinking about everything.
eye tracking accuracy. Vision Pro supports all
And whatever cost though.
and up to 2 hours of it's the design of Vision
Okay.
Pro.
I assume that the battery is going to be interchangeable and will keep some power in the headset by itself, and you can change it,
that blends
or you can
instantly
power it
with your
something
world.
because the
To tell you about the technology
you want to have it for longer.
enable these
You want to watch a
extraordinary
long movie.
experiences.
3 million pixels across
What?
2 panels that are each just the size of a postage stamp.
That's 12.5 million
4K
pixels.
TV for each eye.
Yes, and also more than a Vario, right?
Panels and wrap them around you. A
The Vario like 10. I would say I want to say
We
10.
designed a custom 3-element lens with incredible and hand movement.
What?
With
Sorry,
your
what?
phone, you can communicate with over 1 billion FaceTime-capable devices. When viewed by someone,
They do a 3D scan
has volume and depth.
called the persona, but this is an avatar. Do a 3D scan of you, and they create an avatar.
Without a powerful.
Giving students a
HoloLens
whole new
1.
perspective on the body's most important function. And businesses
Williams
can use
Avanade.
images from PTC, a new
PTC,
production line
cool.
before manufacturing begins.
And really
Mix
Omniverse.
your favorite tracks with DJ with a
Siemens.
reimagined persona
So
to make
Teams
your life
just
easy on this
launched
device.
their virtual reality
And of
stuff,
course,
or
our
AR,
developer
VR,
tools have been built
Mesh
with
last
Vision
week.
Pro in
Build.
mind. Develop
Okay, so how smart is this? They bring in Unity, who builds a lot of the platform for building a lot of games. Unity, who is really pushing into this world where they really want to get into AR, VR in different ways, both for consumer and enterprise. And they are now teaming up. That opens up an ecosystem so broad. Oh. Should we talk about all the leaked photos, Apple?
Where it authenticates you with a secure, even with identity.
Sam Altman was the name of it, the WorldCoin. We use iris to identify you.
Never leaves your device.
Sorry, all Apple devices can be managed by Microsoft Intune, for instance. I wonder if this is running in Mac OS. Intune will work on it
Is isolated to a separate background.
for the enterprise.
So apps and websites
Will it even be used by enterprise? Yes, of course it will.
only when you
Some
tap
cool agencies will use it, but they don't have Intune anyway. So
so much invention
potentially, actually.
that we filed over 5,000 patents.
So quick reaction. This is a really, really cool device. They didn't talk about it, which I think was smart. They didn't say the metaverse, right? They talked more about the realities and how you blend the physical world with a virtual world, which is what I call a reality continuum, right? A reality continuum where you move between physical, digital, and virtual and move back and forth. So I think they were really smart not talking about metaverse, because metaverse has been it's a word painted by Meta changing their name and investing and now de-investing and stuff like that. So I think they're really smart of changing the perspective here. I think that's good. They're not talking about the metaverse. However, they're talking about the immersion layer of what the metaverse was supposed to be. They're talking about the immersive layer, or what I call the reality continuum. Really talk about how you blend the immersion between the physical, the digital, the virtual, but not one way, two ways. So think about the eyesight thing that they had, making sure that people in the real world knows that you are in an immersive world, but also letting you interact and being integrated into that conversation. And as the video we saw where they were showing different screens and you were working with 3D objects, but still your colleague came to you and handed you something, you could see it, you could grab it, you can work with it. Now, this is the HoloLens experience from way past, like 2016, with a very narrow field of view. So I'm thinking about the field of view here, but it's really the augmented reality. But they've been thinking about that, how in the realities continuum, how do you interact between physical and virtual, and between people in physical and virtual? Maybe this is a better thing, right? But I'm not really super excited about being called into a call with an avatar, a persona that they call it. So I'm not. The second thing that they did that's really smart is they imagine work. Now, they didn't go all the way in, a little bit they did, right? But they didn't go all the way into like an industrial metaverse setting. They showed the PTC stuff, which is a little bit that, right? So they virtualize things within there, and they showed like really basic demos, but it's been there before. But it shows that they've been thinking about it, and also those things are things that we talked about. We talk about in the metaverse. This is the important question here. So everything we saw here now was part of the ecosystem, the Apple ecosystem. How does it integrate into backend systems? The reason why I asked it, as an entertainment device, cool. As a working device where you can use this as a 3D virtual thing where you can add whatever you want and use it as a war room kind of thing for yourself or for your team. It's super. But how do I bring in business data into this? How do I work with Power BI or as some kind of analytics? How do I integrate with my CRM or ERP system? Now, what's going to blow people away and what's going to sell this? It's not going to be the physical vertical thing moving around. It's not going to be the work stuff. I think it's a little, I mean, the Vario is super expensive, but you buy like one or two for specific purposes, like collaborating on a car project or something like that. So then the cost is but entertainment. This is where it's genius right now. This is why this is an Apple moment. Yeah, sure, it's Apple. So of course it's an Apple moment. But this is the Apple moment. This is potential one of those for augmented and virtual reality. While HoloLens is really a cool piece of tech, while Quest has been around for far longer, we have the HTC, the Vive, we have the Varios, we have all of that. That's mostly built for geeks, engineers, for people like myself, for people that's invested into gaming or like that kind of gaming, for engineers that try to find new ways to collaborate. But this is the first device that has an entertainment that's spectrum that's wider and more accessible for people. I think that's because it's Apple doing it as well with Disney, also with the ESPN stuff. So if you can have like a collaborative environment where you sit together with, I mean, super cool. And you can take up all the stats and you can zoom in and you can do all of that. Apple just released an AR VR headset. It's really cool.